A bunch of guys went fishing one summer day, and at first, it didn't seem like any other day. They couldn't believe what they saw when they eventually pulled something out of the water that most clearly didn't belong there.
Welcome to Amazing Truth Channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new. Now go to the story.
In 2016, during the height of summer, a group of guys made the decision to go fishing. Cortland Brown, Lonnie Thompson, John Curdy, and Rob Gertie, John's brother, rounded out the ensemble. Rob was the one among these people who would prove to be the protagonist of this tale. The daring gang was fishing in the estuary known as Long Island Sound, which is thought to be around 63 feet, 19 meters deep. Because estuaries are the sites where river and ocean water combine, they are extremely unique environments. This combination of freshwater and saltwater creates a diverse and fruitful animal ecology. Numerous fish and bird species may be found in Long Island Sound. An estimated 170 kinds of fish are found in the region alone. In fact, Congress designated Long Island Sound as an estuary of national significance in 1987 due to its immense national value. Cortland, Lonnie, and the Curdy brothers were seasoned fishermen, having gone fishing on several occasions. This is a pleasant way to spend quality time with others and is an activity that is generally associated with guys. This group was quite ambitious. Therefore, their objective that day was not just to catch little fry, but also to catch a shark. The 4 shark species that are endemic to Long Island Sound are as follows: the smooth dogfish shark, spiny dogfish shark, brown shark, and sand tiger shark. But as the Sound joins the Atlantic Ocean, blue sharks, mako sharks, and even hammerhead sharks may be seen there as well. Though this was the initial idea, the crew found themselves in an unexpected circumstance. In particular, they caught an entirely different species with their fishing gear. The lads were eager to see what they would catch and were about 6 miles off the shore. However, they observed something rather odd not too far from their boat, instead of seeing any sharks. It seemed as though something was floating on the water's surface. Their interest was piqued by the odd sight. Against the turquoise seas, the light brown color of the mystery item was a striking contrast. Rob couldn't believe what he saw when he finally grasped what it was. "Here's a freaking buck swimming out in the Long Island Sound," he said. The deer was extremely lucky to have avoided contact with any of the possible hazards present in the water. The reason the lads had traveled to that particular location was to go shark hunting. Although most shark species don't frequently eat deer, carnivorous creatures rarely resist their hunger pangs. The crew could observe, even from a distance, that the buck's main difficulty was swimming. No obvious wounds were there. Some of the guys pulled out their phones the moment they realized they were seeing something entirely unusual. This had to be captured on camera. But the gang also felt that they had to aid the animal. Regretfully, the water's temperature was only 58 degrees Fahrenheit, or 14 degrees Celsius, for the deer. It seemed to be locked in a potentially fatal predicament, circling around in circles. The boys could see that the poor animal was having difficulty staying afloat. Rob said, "You could see it shivering." In the hopes that it would be directed accurately enough to reach the buck, the men tossed a lifeline into the ocean. "Well, this is pretty unbelievable," Cortland said as the crew labored intently and succeeded in gently lassoing the lengthy rope around the deer's antlers. The boys began corralling the deer into the boat as soon as the rope around the 6-point buck's antlers appeared secure, taking care to ensure the animal was not harmed in the process. Rob said, "To make sure he was comfortable and we weren't pulling on him too hard, we used one of the boat cleats to tie him down." The boys' preference for gentleness caused the boat to move slowly, which sadly delayed their return to land. Things appeared to be going well as the squad set out to return to the beach. It wasn't fighting against the rope. Instead, it kept kicking, despite the guys' concerns for the buck. They were putting forth as much effort as they could to return the buck to dry, secure land. But when it became apparent that the animal was unable to swim any longer, things took a different turn. The chilly water would have begun to affect the animal's muscles after it had paddled its legs for over 6 miles. While the other males sympathized with the buck, Rob was the one who was moved by the deer's plight to take the effort to console it. Rob picked up a life jacket as the boat approached the shore. Without any delay, he donned it, leaped into the water, and embraced the deer. Despite the very high temperature, Rob remained focused on completing their task to aid the animal. Rob reflected on the circumstances and stated, "It's a life. I will not allow it to drown. It was the proper course of action." It was evident to anyone at a reasonable distance how furiously the deer was shivering. Rob tried to reheat it by holding it near his body temperature, but the blankets Madison locals supplied were highly welcomed. The deer sat on the shore, curled up like a little kid, for hours on end. Luckily, locals on the beach had noticed the show by the time Rob and his friends arrived at the coast. A number of people had congregated nearby, intently observing the gathering. The beachgoers moved when they saw where Rob and the deer were. With their improvised safety gear in hand, they dashed over the beach into the ocean. To assist Rob and the deer in getting to the shore safely, others even used cardboard. In addition to the cardboard, a few individuals brought towels with the intention of warming the buck. The buck needed a while to heal, but everyone in the vicinity was understanding and willing to provide a hand. The deer was able to rise again and utilize its legs, despite the common belief that it would be traumatized by the strange experience. After a while, the animal sauntered off as if nothing had occurred. I know what's going through your mind. How did a 6-point buck get so far from the shore? Everyone in the area was curious as to how a land animal like a deer wound up stuck in the water, as was everyone who heard the tale when it was posted online. One explanation seems to make the most sense. In Connecticut, white-tailed deer are frequently seen, particularly around the Long Island Sound beaches. Despite being mostly terrestrial in nature, these species can occasionally be seen swimming in saltwater. This is because they have evolved to migrate efficiently, which occasionally necessitates swimming across islands. Moreover, they have developed hair that enables them to float in water. Still, the sight of that buck 6 miles offshore was startling. It has been thought by some that the deer was not too far from the land in the first place. The unfortunate animal was probably caught in a riptide, which is why it was struggling in the water. Though this is not exclusive to this estuary, the currents surrounding Long Island Sound have the potential to become very strong. A word of caution to those excited to go swimming at the beach. Be careful not to venture too far from the coast, and keep an eye on the intensity of the currents. It's hardly a given that a bunch of fishermen will show up to lend you a hand. This tale demonstrates that it's not totally impossible, though. Following the entire incident, news got all over Connecticut. The tale became popular on the internet very quickly. The story of a small group of fishermen saving a drowning deer was out of the ordinary. Rob, John, Cortland, and Lonnie would always remember this incident. Did this tale astound you as much as it did me?
If you like the story, surely the next video that's appearing on your screen will move you too. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any of our next videos. A huge kiss, and see you in the next story.